Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 26th episode of the SuperNova Show. And I am your host, Colton Roberts. Can you believe it out there in the Nova Nation? We have done this show for 26 weeks, half a year. This show is going to be very interesting. First thing I want to do is go ahead and shout out my brother in arms out there, Kevin Smets. He is officially in remission. He is hashtag smashing cancer, so that's awesome. And that's great. He made the announcement Friday, as of recording Friday. So yeah, it was awesome. Yep, hashtag smash cancer. But so there's that. And then Sunday, I participated in a Twitter storm. It was hashtag Aragon remake. Disney out there, you have the option to turn this great intellectual property that you own into a Disney Plus show. Everyone wants it. Come on, it's an absolute opportunity, so you can make that hashtag dollar bills, yo, and do all that. So get on out there. Hashtag Aragon remake. And all right, so that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to go ahead and bring out the Schmoedown pro himself, Mr. Amaru Moses.
That's a lot of hashtags.
Yep. Yeah, if anyone watched my video on Monday, they'll understand I had like 50 hashtags from that Aragon remake video that I made, so we're going to continue on with that.
All right.
So how you been?
Doing well now. Match came out and into summer, so I'm good. Right now I'm nursing a nice little headache, but other than that, doing all right.
Yeah, I know you had one gotta say Monday. It was between, I'm trying to remember who all it was. Shrek, Incredibles, Kung Fu Panda.
Got two more to go.
Toy Story.
And
I cannot remember the fifth and final one.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep, that was it. Probably the reason why I didn't remember that is I remember that was going to be the one I was going to drop immediately. Yep. The other four were a lot more difficult, I will say. I know me and Robert talked about our favorite Pixar movies last week, and I can't, getting rid of Toy Story would have been really hard because I don't want to take that away from my friend over here, so it had to be number one. If you had put Onward on there or anything, then sorry, Toy Story, you got to go out because
Seriously?
Yeah, Onward is my favorite Pixar movie. So I don't know why. I guess it might be because I am the nerdy older brother in that movie, and all of that is, I love Dungeons and Dragons and all of that stuff, and yeah, it's just
it's not a franchise, so I couldn't put it in there. I do love Onward. I don't like it more than any of the Toy Stories, but that's because they're all amazing, as is Onward. But yeah, I kind of went the same way you did. Incredibles is my favorite Pixar film. It's my second favorite animated film, period. So, and I liked Incredibles 2 enough that those two stayed over everything else.
Yeah, I still haven't seen Incredibles 2 yet because whenever it came out in theaters, they warned that if you have epilepsy, not to watch it because it apparently causes stuff. They have a lot of flashing lights, and I'm epileptic, so
there's a pretty good amount. There's especially one specific scene that can trigger something. So
yeah, so I have not watched that. But I mean, I guarantee if it's in my own home where I can control the dimness on the TV, it will probably be okay. So I may do that eventually because I know I've talked about how we're gonna review all the Pixar movies after we finish Harry Potter. It's going into Pixar, so yep, that will be good. Yeah, cannot complain. But yeah, so how's the dog doing? I know last week you had a entire thing with it.
Still a little shit. Not really. He's good. Yeah, he's good. He's an older dog, so I don't really have to worry about. I don't have to potty train him or anything. I learned he chews things. He got into some of my shoes, so he didn't do that much damage. So now those are away. Still learning them, but he's good. He's over there knocked out now. That's what he normally does all day is sleep. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the last year we got a puppy, and he's a pit bull. And man, if we didn't live like out in the country, he would be absolutely like I couldn't imagine like what do you have to do in the city to keep him interested? Or how old is he to begin with?
They're supposed to be 3, so a little older. There's Charlotte's a pretty big dog town, so they have a lot of dog stuff like dog bars and paths and walkways. Hella people have dogs out here, so bunch of dog parks.
All right, well that's good to hear. Thank you so much for being on the show today. We got so many things to talk about that I didn't even mention them in the beginning. So that's good. That's some good hosting there, Colton. Woo. So I'm gonna go ahead and move you to the back and then bring out Mr. The Dwayne The Rock Johnson of the SuperNova Show, Mr. Robert Castner. What's up, Robert?
I'm none of those things. And by the way, 26th episode, that means that when we get to the next one, this can't stay on its parents' insurance anymore.
Ah, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah. It is.
But you have to learn how to walk on your own 2 legs, so to speak. The show has to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'll see what it can do, and we'll make it happen. But how you been this week?
It's been a long week. Had one of those Full Metal matches that require you to do lots of deep cut watching, and when that happens, it basically takes over my week, and makes everything seem tighter and smaller. And when work is unmanageable, then everything kind of seems like it spirals a little. But otherwise, I'm okay. It's the weekend now, so it's fine.
Yeah. I know you said last week that you had like 5 matches. So man, that's
and I'm through 2 of them. I have actually, you know what? I have 6 matches. There was another one that was added on. I had forgotten was a possibility. So I have 4 left for next week, and then see what happens after those.
Yay!
Hooray!
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it.
Yep. It's been a good week. I've been, just chilling out at the house. Watching The Boys, the TV show, also my sons. So
yeah, I thought you were gonna make a joke, or I was gonna make the joke if you didn't. So
yeah, I've made that joke so many times. Like my wife will text me, she's like, "What you doing?" I'll be like, "Watching The Boys," and she's like, "TV or my children?" And I'm like, "TV right now. They're playing Pokemon." So that's fun. I don't know if you've ever seen that show.
I love that. Me and my wife love that show.
Okay, so I am 3 episodes into season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And holy crap, it is so good. Like I hadn't watched it because of apparently how filthy it is. But this week I decided, hey, I'm gonna watch this, and man, there are definitely moments where it's definitely super gory, and cringe a little bit, or things happen in the show and I'm like, ooh, I don't ever want to see that again.
Gory, foul-mouthed,
Yeah.
explicit, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's something else. It's really, really good though.
You know who's having a good week? Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles. Because actually a good 2 weeks, because they had his set photos or whatever.
Oh yeah.
From season 3.
Yep.
And we found out that there's going to be, because God knows 18 seasons or whatever of Supernatural weren't enough. He and his wife are producing for the CW the prequel to Supernatural with their parents. John and I forget his mom's name. Winchester.
Yeah.
So it's been a good thank you. From the back. Yes. It's just been a minute since I've watched any Supernatural, but I love it as well. It's just, it was only supposed to be 5 and they times that by 4 almost.
Yeah. That was a show that I remember getting into when I was a teenager, and just not ever being able to watch it. Once you're like trying to decide, do you want to pay for cable or like lunch one time a week, every week? Which one do I really want to do? And cable didn't win out, and it's not on any streaming service that I could find. Some of it is on Netflix. Now all of it is on Netflix, which means I could theoretically binge watch it now that I'm at the house. But right now,
and just one other thing, we are 10 years removed from Captain America: The First Avenger. Jensen Ackles was almost Captain America as well.
Ooh, that would have been.
He's too short. He's too short. That's why I wouldn't work. But it's cool.
Yeah, the picture of him in The Boys it's going to be good.
It's gonna be good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for him to curse. Like really curse. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to. I'm going to eventually review The Boys on my personal channel. So probably sometime next week once I finish both seasons. But yeah, it's really good. It's super good. There are some really like messed up things in it, but
yeah, that's why it's good.
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess let's talk Schmoedown. We got some Battlefield predictions to make tonight, and we got the pro here, and we're going to talk about what he thought of his match and all.
Got to run the 3-man weave. Let's go.
Ooh. All right, so Amaru, let's talk about your match, man. That sure, like, not only was your performance was great. I messaged you beforehand, and I was like 30 points, and you were like, yeah, 30 points with opponent's choice, and I was like, yeah, and I'm like, I don't know if it's just because I've been I told y'all in the last week that I was going to start rewatching Lord of the Rings movies. But I thought his round 2 was super easy.
I during the match, I thought otherwise, especially because I thought the first quote was like, all right, he got this. And I thought that, so I was a little not upset. Mark and Christian did a good job commentating overall. I thought they would have the answers so they could say what the answers were past round 1. So when they did it, I was like, oh, well, okay, well, they'll just actually commentate. But that first one, what is the last words of the Witch King of Angmar?
Yeah.
Moose said, "No man can kill me," and he got it wrong. And I was like, oh, okay. So I said, "No man can defeat me," and it was still wrong. And I completely forgot that he says, "Die now," before he dies.
Oh my God!
Yeah, right before.
Boo!
Right before he gets stabbed in the back and then in the face. Yep.
Yeah.
You know what that's like? That's like Tony Stark's last words not being "I am Iron Man." It's "Hi Pep."
Yep.
True.
It's the same idea. It's the same.
Yeah, he does say it literally right after he says, "No man can kill me," though. So, because I had recently watched it as well after I'd already done the match. I was like, there it is. And then that Oscars question was also like a ooh. But it took me so long to answer that one because I think I was back and forth between I forgot what he answered, but I was back and forth between whatever hobbits were left. Battle of the Five Armies, or I think An Unexpected Journey. But I got lucky and and was able to get the right one for that 2-point steal. But and then they asked the 78 Lord of the Rings questions. If you like, half of us forget that 78 is included. Luckily for me, I had been like, I need to go through the 78 cast. So, but he got the other two straight out, I believe. But I will say he did worse than I thought he would on it, which was good for me because my brother in the chat was like, "Don't drop any, or he's gonna eat these points," and I did. So, yay!
Yeah. All right. So since you were victorious, how do you feel about going against Saul? I mean, as he said last week, I erased the quote off my phone, but I want that Moses punk or something like that. So
something along those lines.
Yeah.
I am legit excited. I like Angry Saul. It's fun to be around and to be able to be around that in person. I'm just gonna completely thrive off of that energy. On top of the fact that it's just going to be a great match. I am doing all I can right now to make sure I am ready for any category in any movie. Because I know neither of us are dropping many questions. If we do, neither of us are going to drop many questions at all. So I'm going to go into it the same way I have. Be ahead in round 3, make him answer his 5.
Okay, so I was wondering, they kind of made it seem like, are you going to be in California for that match?
I will be in studio, yes.
Okay,
Oh.
that is super exciting. I know Christian said that, but then I was watching the rest of it. I was like, I guess because they said 2 studio matches and 2 non-studio matches, and I was like, he said that, but then I'm like, well, I guess they might not be able to get the 2 later matches. I know obviously the main event is going to be in studio, but maybe they couldn't. But that's awesome. Like,
yeah. It's gonna be ridiculous. First match back in the studio because we air first, and it just and having Angry Saul in person. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna be smiling the entire time.
Yep. Now I will say, this is one of the parts where I personally, like, I understand they gotta film stuff ahead of time, but I kind of hate that happens because Ben Bateman kind of spoiled the result of this match on backstage on Tuesday when he said it was you and Saul at Collision.
Saul did a beautiful cover up for him though, because he did say my name and then Saul said or Moose, and a lot of people were like, wait, did he just? And when backstage happened, I was like, please don't do anything, please. And then my brother texted me like, I was like, I have no idea, I don't know what happened, I don't know what you're talking about. But hey, things happen, so. What you gonna do about it? That was the show's live, so.
Yep. But yeah, so I know that this will obviously be your first match, not via StreamYard, right? Yeah. So how does that make you feel?
It'll be my first trivia match, not via StreamYard, but I've been under the lights before. I've been under the lights answering basically movie trivia. I was on Hollywood Game Night back in 2016. So this is not 100% new to me. I've done it before. I performed well there. So the nerves will hit me, but the nerves are not going to hit me as much because I've I've done this. I've done something very similar to it before, where I had to pull random pop culture trivia knowledge on a time limit in front of a lot of celebrities and people. So I'm good because I've had the lights hit me in the face before. So I know I know it's the same. I know it's not the same. It's nowhere near the same. But I know it's like my honing in on making sure I do right. Yeah, that's gonna be the same.
All right. So if in the case you were to defeat Saul, who do you want to play? Do you want to play Chandru or Mike?
I want to play Mike. I would love to play Chandru. I would love to give him some dance lessons, rhythm a little bit, but I don't know. It just feels like going up against Mike would be a little bit less of I need to make sure a little bit less of trying to not deal with Chandru's mind games, which that won't affect me. That won't affect me at all. I think, I don't know what it is. It's just a different feel where with Mike, it's like, this is the man who's done this a bunch. I'd love to play him. But given Chandru's last match, same deal. I'd love to play him as well. But I just want to see what it's like. Maybe because he's more of a veteran and I've played nothing but like somewhat rookies and some of the new guard. I want to play the old guard. I want to play the people who've been around for a while, and Mike is that old guard feeling. So I'd want Mike, but I cannot. I gotta focus on Saul because that man is on a mission that I must stop. So,
what was I gonna ask? So with everything that you have going, is in studio, meaning like there's going to be a crowd there as well cheering?
I would assume so. I don't know too much information aside from when I'm going and all that goodness, but I would assume that there's going to be some type of crowd reaction because doing it without a crowd is somewhat like, okay, we're doing it online just. So I believe there's going to be a slight smaller crowd. So,
do you know who the other match is that's going to be in person?
Oh yeah, they already posted that. It's the team title.
Oh, okay.
Team title. So the IG #1 contenders match, which is crazy for one. It's the #1 contenders match, and the team's title match is going to be the 2 in studio.
I also agree with you. Even though it will be in front of a crowd and it will be interesting, you always have the opportunity to form your bubble, a la like an Aquaman speaking in water bubble. So you could always do that when you're trying to answer questions. And I agree with you also that, playing the rookies is fun, but it's not like it really feels like you get into it and you really feel like you're a part of everything when you get to play the old guard, because it brings your fandom to fruition and you're like right in front of it. It's really cool.
Right.
I like it.
I'm uber excited, man.
We're excited for you.
Thank you.
I hope that comes through with how it is that we ask these questions. And stuff.
Oh yeah. I got the entirety of the fan leagues behind me, and I feel the love for sure.
By the way, screw Red Sonja.
Yeah. When that one came up, you said what 1980s? One, I'll say this now: 2 matches in a row now, where 10 out of the 12 slices were like slices I would have loved. And it's just one slice I don't want and an opponent's choice.
Yep.
My first match, Jesse took one of the slices I didn't want in comic book movies. And I'm like, the score to soundtracks is fine. I would do very well in the score to soundtracks, but I can do much better. There's only one slice I don't currently want. And that one slice came up. Second match, I don't want fantasy sci-fi.
No.
That's the only one I don't want right now. Opponent's choice. Freaking wheel. But hey, I 30 points with the bonus choice. I'm loving it. And when they asked that, when he said what 1980s, I was like, okay, Red Sony's in my head. But I'm not positive about this at all. I need to go to multiple choice. And they just proceeded to give me the 4 options that I thought they would give me. And it was just like, screw you then. I don't know. I actually probably went with the least likely answer in Flash Gordon. Mm-hmm. But I have gone with, when I heard Flash Gordon, that's what stuck out. And I have gone with the thing. Go with your gut. You will be more upset if you are wrong and don't go with your gut than if you if not. So I went with my gut and I was wrong. I was like, well, this is just one I don't know. Hey, I was scared though, because I was like, crap, that could, if I get 1 point, it'll get to only a 4-point lead, which means nothing matters. And he got and it was a 4-point lead. I was like, well, it doesn't matter now. I have to answer my 5. Crap. Because he's going to answer all 3 of these. They
made that comment, I think, when they gave you your 3-pointer in track, and they were like, he seemed upset. And I was like, I think he's upset because he knew, the 5-point and up lead means that you have a cushion. And 4 points doesn't really mean anything because it means you have to.
Yeah, it doesn't mean at all. And at that point, it was basically, well, it doesn't. This 3-pointer doesn't matter. And usually, no matter if I know the answer or not, I take my time. Mm. So when it was Trek, I was just like, 1, I wish that was a 5, and then 2, who plays the Riemann Vice for us? Like, I know this. Let's just get to it. Ron Perlman, let's go. Get to the 5. This makes no difference to me. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. So
that's for stats, sake. But yeah, I was happy you pulled Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, though. I was. Yeah,
it's one of the first things from Indy that I kept in my head.
Yep. It comes up all the time. That and the Valley of the Crescent Moon.
Yeah. So when they asked, when he said, "What is the name of the group?" I was like, please say, yes, I know this. Yes. So it was great. It was great.
Such a good match. I loved it. And you're a math teacher, so you know that, probabilities will go in your favor for the wheel at some point.
At some point. So far it hasn't.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a real wheel, I'm assuming.
Oh yes! Oh my God! You'll get to yes. You have
my fingers are crossed that the wheel will be a real thing that I get to just touch and spin.
Actually, what I hope for you is I hope it's like Wheel of Fortune and they give you one of those rubber things.
Yeah,
I hope you get a peg thing. That would be great.
I wonder whether or not I can spin. You said it, Colton. I wonder whether or not I can spin for the pegs now. I don't know, but we'll see.
But I know me and Robert talked about it last week. So what's your opinion on the fact that recently there's going to be a lot of number 1 contenders? Yeah. Technically right now, Thomas Harper is the number 1 contender, but so is Laura Kelly for the Star Wars belt. For the singles belt, it's either going to be Ben Bateman or Ethan Irwin, and then it will be Kevin Smith or Marisol McKee. And they will probably be both number 1 contenders at the same time, according to when they film all this stuff. And then there's going to be you or Saul, and then Chandra, according to when they film all this stuff. I think the team's belt is the only one that has 1 number 1 contender. And it seems so odd that they're doing multiple number 1 contenders matches setting up before they have a championship match.
I'm assuming that because they're getting deep into, it's about to be the second half of the season, so tournaments are about to start. I'm assuming July is going to have a lot of those championship matches. That's what I think. I think that some of those number 1 contenders matches are already getting done. They're going to be part of the pay-per-views. So by Collision, we'll have champions by Collision. Or August is going to be the pay-per-views in August are going to be the release of the of those championship matches with all those number 1 contenders, so they can go into tournament season straight into it. So something like that. I think it's just kind of lining up.
Yeah, it seems like they're waiting for the pay-per-views, But by the time they're going to have the pay-per-views, they're going to have like 2 sets of number 1 contenders per title. And it's so weird that they're doing that. But
yeah, so thinking about it with Collision, IG and singles will be decided by Collision. We'll have a number 1 contender. It would be Mearsall, Kevin Smith, or Marisol, right? What I'm assuming is that after that, I would think that the Star Wars, the Star Wars other number 1 contender match might release before DeMolante Kelly.
yeah, but I mean that wouldn't make sense either, because if Thomas Harper is the number 1 contender, he's just waiting for the 2 of them to duke it out, and then he comes on to face. And then there's supposed to be another Star Wars tournament, so unless they do a title match immediately in August, that means DeMolante and Kelly.
That's what I feel like they're gonna do. I feel like they're gonna have another title match real quick after this one. So then the final, and I'm thinking probably the final title match is gonna be in for Spectacular.
Yeah.
Unless they can get 2 in there, but we'll see. We will.
All right. So speaking of number 1 contenders, Ethan Irwin versus Ben Bateman at Schmoedown Battlefield. Hey, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Hey, let's just imagine it was like Friday at 7:45 Eastern time, guys. The show hasn't came on yet. What do you think predictions are like here?
Wait, the suspects are going 3-0 this week.
Yep, I agree. I want Ethan to win, because if Ben wins, then the Dungeon gets a guaranteed 7 points in their title match in July when it's Dan versus Bateman, and that's too much. They'll be way too in the lead, and no, like I don't know what it is about me. I always cheer for the people that are in the bottom half of the rankings, regardless of who they are. I'm just like, I like the Dungeon, but I don't want them to be that far ahead, because that makes it no fun. But
Colton, are you an American?
I am.
Well, you like underdogs. Our nation was founded on underdogs, so that's
but but that's not necessarily the truth in regular stuff. Like, I'm a Yankees fan.
Okay.
I'm a Duke Blue Devils fan. I'm a Patriots fan.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I know I had like the randomness of being a Washington football team fan, but a New York fan after that. But I'm New York everything else outside of Washington football. You got New England and New York, and what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Man?
Okay, so let's not go off the deep end too much. The Yankees is because my cousin gave me a Yankees hat when I was 4 years old, and I thought the symbol was cool. Duke Blue Devils, essentially the same thing, except I thought that the Blue Devil was cool.
But you at least live in North Carolina.
Yeah, and then the Patriots is because actually, and the Patriots right now I'm not a huge fan of, because I'm not
because Tom Brady's not there.
It's absolutely no. It's because Cam Newton is there, and I can't stand Cam Newton.
Well, that's okay, because Mac Jones is also there. So,
but yeah. So right now, not pulling for the Patriots. Right now, I'm just chilling out because I'm not a Panthers fan either. Like, they are not great.
They're okay.
But Tampa Bay is pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Like, Tom Brady, every single year I've got him in my fantasy league, he's won me the championship, so I stick with that. But also, I don't watch football. Like, I think it's like the most ridiculous sport in the world. Like, you watch the sport for 4 hours for like 45 minutes worth of content. It's ridiculous.
60 minutes of content.
Yeah.
Fair.
But
I'm so disappointed in everything you said.
I know that's the reason why I want you to let me be on your sports ball show, so I can like totally learn some things. Like,
well, everything you said with all of your fandom, to me, it's like Luke Skywalker. Everything you said with your fandom in that sentence was incorrect. But that's okay. What were we talking about before we went off that silly?
Bateman and Irwin.
Oh, is it weird that I was looking at that Irwin Oyama match and I was like, whoever wins this goes to the title, because I don't believe that Ben has the capacity to beat either of them, because that's how my sense of this. That's why I'm also picking Irwin. I just don't see a realistic scenario where Ben can beat Irwin.
No, and also Ethan has gotten enough. The same deal. Ethan's gotten enough bad luck with this wheel.
Mm-hmm.
He's due.
Yeah,
he is due for sure.
And Bateman's gotten a fair bit of it, especially in teams too. But
and to tell you the truth, give you a little inside. Ethan is the most. It's not really inside. It's just about Ethan. He is the most. I don't give a crap. This is fun for me type dude ever. And in a good way, because it's not in a way where it's like, if I win or lose, it's whatever. He wants to win. But his entire demeanor is, I want to win, but I'm really here to be like, I'm here to win and have fun. And he is the chillest of chill. The chillest of chill, amazing guy. And he's going in, I had no pressure. I'm going to win. Just no pressure. Let's go. And Ben always just seems like everything is falling, on the weight of his shoulders. And that his non-movie watching self. Actually, I have no idea if he watches movies or not. I'm just following along with the crap that everybody gives him. So
no, he makes music. That's all he does in his spare time. That's what I understand.
It is good music, but
is it?
Yeah,
I haven't heard any of it.
I haven't either. I'm sorry.
The one song he's released on YouTube, I think, is actually pretty good. Like,
what does he play? Piano?
The guitar.
He plays the guitar?
Yeah.
Of course he does. I'm just kidding. Ben, if you're watching, I just giving you some crap. Okay.
Yeah, Ben, if you are one of the 12 people who watch this show weekly,
yes,
come on. I will totally
12 people that I don't have to go out and advocate to watch the show, Yeah.
So
that's good. I don't have to put in that effort.
Yep. But all right, so let's move to movies. So Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. But before that, I know I talked to Robert about it. In I think two weeks, Black Widow comes out. 2 weeks from recording.
Yes.
I'm gonna give us a week after that before we talk about it.
Please.
Because that's normal. Like, I don't want to talk about it on Friday when it comes out on Friday. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably go see it that morning with my sons. But
lucky.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm unemployed, so I don't know if that's lucky.
Well, I wasn't gonna force that to come out of your mouth, but you said
it's fine.
There you go.
Talk about it now. But yeah, so like this is gonna be good. So in 3 weeks we'll do that. So this week we'll do Deathly Hallows Part 1. Next week we'll do Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then the week after that we'll do Black Widow. And then the week after that, we'll do both Fantastic Beasts movies. Just so
we just get them out the way.
Yeah, we'll do
Yes,
F. Blah.
Because I like the second one. I've said that multiple times, but it is not a good movie. It is great lore, but it is not a good movie.
At least we got that from you. That's fine.
Yes. Yeah. Like, it is a much better screenplay. Like, I have it right over there, and I read it, and I'm like, this is so much better than having to watch it.
Wow, you're giving J.K. Rowling a lot of credit.
Well, I like her as an author. I do not exactly agree with her as a person. But
yeah, it's like a lot of people.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. So, what do you guys think about that?
It's the definition for Harry Potter films of the 10 of a slow burn. I mean, it is the slowest of slow burns for Harry Potter movies, but I still very much. It's like Ocean's 11 without like the excitedness of watching your favorite actors plan a heist. There's a lot of that, but it's like we're working. They work a long time to make sure that they can get the locket and then like fooling around in the woods for like an hour until something happens. I know that's what happens in the book, but on screen, it's not very compelling.
Yeah, in every single movie I watch, even in my favorite ones, there's always the scene or the part of like, they're like 10 minutes of like the one part of the movie you're like, oh, this part again, crap. Like even in your favorite, we're back to this one part that's not the best. And it's that montage scene with the radio over them walking in 5 different places where it's like, oh man, not this part again. Because every time I see it, I'm like, this movie is faster than I think it is. This movie this is more exciting. The beginning is good. The Gringotts, the Ministry of Magic escape scene is great. The Malfoy Manor is amazing. But every time I get to that middle part where the radio and the weird dance and you luckily get the argument of Ron and Harry in the middle of it, but still, it's smack dab in the middle of the. Okay.
The locations are lovely. I'll say
yeah,
it's lovely in England.
Yeah, like I have brought this up before. Is spoiler alert, people out there on the internet, Dobby dies. But guess what? I am not a huge fan of that. Like, it's good in the books because, like, you see him, he gives the gillyweed to Harry. He's working in the kitchen. He's like negotiating his salary. The entire spew thing. He doesn't show up again after Chamber of Secrets in the movies. So I remember, this was 2010. I had no connection to Dobby in the movies. I'm just like, okay, cool. And, hey, he just took out Wormtail. Wormtail doesn't choke himself to death.
I don't like that.
That's neat. I mean, I like that in the book because he deserves it.
I like it in the book. I'm saying I don't like that it's not there in the movie.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely agree. And then I'm just like, okay, Bellatrix throws the knife. Like, I'm more like emotional about the fact that like she's writing mudblood or carving it into Hermione's arm than I am of Dobby dying. I'm like, hey, she shouldn't have to remember. That's derogatory, and you shouldn't be like that. But
you have no heart. I'm sorry. That scene hits me every time.
I disagree with you.
It hits me.
Yeah.
It's so nice to be here with friends that damn. Yeah.
We don't get the that part's very emotional. I'll play a little devil's advocate going closer to your side, Colton. We don't get the turmoil with Harry as much like we do in the book because they spend like, I don't know, 5 pages or something like talking about his dig in the grave and like dealing with it. So I don't think we get as much emotional weight and how it, like, we know it affects Harry obviously, but we don't like feel it as much as we do in the book. So I give you a little bit of that, but I also agree wholeheartedly with Rue that it makes me so very sad every time. And I can't agree. I mean, I understand your point of view, but I don't agree with it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll take it. But I will say, the Deathly Hallows, them talking about that and like the animated sequence of it is great, and I love it.
Pretty cool.
That's the cool. I don't want to say it's the coolest part of the Harry Potter movie. It's like a top 5 coolest part in a Harry Potter movie to me.
It was a very good way to take just nothing but exposition and make it interesting.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember first time I was watching, I was like, oh, this is a good way to do this. This is definitely a good way to do this because you kind of have to explain this entire story. So kudos to y'all for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the Godric's Hollow stuff for the most part, but there's always the thing like when you're reading something, how your imagination pictures it, and the Nagini thing in reading it is much more terrifying and horrifying than it shows up in the movie.
That was pretty horrifying, though.
I just imagine I imagine like an alien type like bursting through stomach type thing when I thought about it, and that doesn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, then they don't make a big deal that she's inhabiting Bathilda Bagshot's body.
That too. It's like it's very confusing, and Harry and Hermione in the book don't, or Harry, because he's the dumb one, doesn't understand it whatsoever till it's way too late. And this one is just like, oh, you're the snake. We should probably get out of here now.
Yeah.
We also don't get, and again, it's because it would be too much exposition. We don't feel as much about Harry uncovering the Dumbledore life, the background of Albus.
Yeah.
As much about that and how much he feels betrayed by that, which it does take away from. That's an emotional center of the book for the first 2/3 of it.
That's one I feel like they should have figured out how to get into, because that is a very big emotional center, and something that probably would have given it more weight.
Yes.
Because they started it with Muriel at the wedding, but they kind of just left it at the wayside after that until Aberforth, which I know where I'm jumping ahead, but Kieran Hines is just a beast of an actor.
Oh my God.
Beast of an actor. But
that's one of the good things about Justice League is that he gets the Zack Snyder cut, is that he gets redeemed.
Yeah.
In that. So yes, I agree.
But yeah, they do. They drop that, and I think they did a pretty okay job. We also lose a good amount of creatures redemption.
Yeah, right. I wasn't thinking about that too. Yeah,
but I feel like that's something they balanced well enough. They wanted to bring Dobby back, and they gave Creature a little bit of shine. But they kind of put Creature to the wayside from Order of the Phoenix as well. So, but I enjoy this film. I don't know why, but one of the most, I don't know if it's emotional as well, but they, aside from it not being a Lynx, they hit Kingsley sending the Patronus to the wedding. Just that 2 seconds of him saying they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, every time I see it, I was like, damn, you did a really good job with that shit.
Well, that dude's awesome.
Yeah, George Harris is
George Harris is awesome.
Yes, he is.
Shout out to Captain Katanga, you know. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good movie. It's pretty good. I enjoy it.
I think the only other thing I can remember that I was like a little disappointed but understood was cut was Dean also being with Luna and Ollivander and going to Shell Cottage.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, we don't get to see him that much anymore. Nah, well.
Or we don't get the radio show.
That would have
cool.
been a funny scene.
That would have been cool.
But, and every time I watch, I think every time I ask myself, do they really explain you can't say Voldemort's name?
Yeah,
they kind of, but they don't. But they kind of do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the books, that's the reason why the Snatchers are able to find him, is they say Voldemort.
Yeah.
And
it places the tag on him, right?
Yeah.
It's taboo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't land every plane. You know, some planes are going to disappear into the Bermuda Triangle, and that happens in that case. So,
yeah,
what are you going to do?
Yeah, hopefully, I know we've talked about this before. There's so many other better series that in the Harry Potter universe where we would rather them do the series that they're going to do for HBO Max, either it be like a Founders series or the Marauders or whatever. But if they decide to do the books over, there's so much.
They're not going to do the books over. There's no way they do the books over again. Everybody has seen the damn movies. If they do the books over, I feel like if they do the books over, it's like, why are we doing this?
There will be a lot of that.
Yeah. I just don't know what they'll do.
Is it really worth it to get more Dobby? People be like, "Is it really worth it?" Like, we love Dobby, but is it really worth it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
But I guess if you got, I don't know, have you seen Loki episode 3 yet? All right.
I
So
have.
TV. Hey, spoilers.
Yeah.
Hey, you out there? You haven't seen Loki episode 3? What are you doing here? All right, pause this. Now come back when you're done. All right, you watched it. All right, cool. Let's talk about this. So, what'd y'all think?
I don't endorse your as much as usual the getting people to go watch it part. I think they could have skipped this one.
Okay, so me and Robert talked last week about theories for the show, and I told him that I had a theory that she was not gonna she's gonna be Loki, but she was gonna be Enchantress. And it was because they put it in the credits that she was Sylvie, and that's Enchantress's name in the comics. And I'm like, this is the first theory about a Marvel TV show ever that I've ever gotten right. Woohoo! I win. I win the game. But so yeah, I mean, I liked it perfectly fine. Yeah, like
it struggled from a lack of Owen Wilson. I think that was clear.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that
go
was-
ahead, Robert. Keep going.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the big part of the show for people is the dynamism of how it is that Loki and Mobius interact and talk about big picture stuff. And they tried to substitute that with Sylvie, and it wasn't as compelling, unfortunately.
No. There's not been a Marvel episode yet out of the 3 series that I did not like, or I thought. Let me rephrase that I thought was bad. But Loki as a series right now is just not grabbing me.
Huh.
It's not. Episode 1, I was like, in time, I was like, okay, cool, and then retroactively, it was like, okay, that's actually a lot better than I thought. Episode 2 for me was like, this is. Come on, y'all. Come on. For one reason or another, this is not like you kind of rev the action up, or you kind of rev the excitement up, but it was also still like, we're just kind of redoing things we know about Loki already ish. And for some reason or another, as good as Tom Hiddleston is, maybe because I think it seems like a rehash, this doesn't seem like exciting Loki. This just seems like this is Loki I saw from basically from Ragnarok on. And he's just trying to force a lot of things. This episode, I'm like, you only got 3 more left. You can't have a filler episode when your first 2 episodes are filler episodes. Like, filler episodes are fine. They're needed. They can be great. This one was the one where I was just like, man, this is, hurry up with something. Do something, please. And it probably had the most action. And I was like, I don't care about, I'm not into any of this right now. Again, not bad. None of it's bad. It's still a pretty okay show. I'm just watching it to wait for something to happen.
Can we speak about the action? Because that's the part that kind of upset me the most, actually. Because I don't understand how the action coordinated. Like, there's things that happen in there. I'm like, why didn't Loki just always used to do this? Why?
I didn't know he was telekinetic.
I didn't know he was telekinetic. When did that happen? When he fought Sylvie in episode 2 before they got to the TVA, why didn't he just teleport around? It seemed like that would be a really good idea, apparently, if you could just teleport and shit. What the? He could shoot like fireworks as his projectiles? What happened?
Yeah, and like conjure like little green balls and throw it at people.
He's like freaking Raiden and Nightcrawler and Professor X all in one. I was unaware.
Like, I will say, this is the first week where me and Robert also talk about the Bad Batch every week, but this is the first week where I thought the Bad Batch was so much better than the episode of Loki.
I wouldn't say so much better, but it was definitely better. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I was more excited I was more excited Friday morning when I watched The Bad Batch than I was excited Wednesday morning when I watched Loki. Hopefully, this coming up Wednesday, I'll feel different. And then this Friday, hey, do The Bad Batch good again. That'd be great. Just keep it going.
My wife and I watched Loki, and I had to wait till after my Full Metal match because I had no time. And we watched it at night. We get sushi. We like sushi. Like to eat sushi and watch something. We watched Loki, but she paid attention for like 15 minutes and then was out of it. She's like, "What happened here?" I'm like,
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's okay.
Okay, so I have a question for both of y'all. Since you both are in trivia now, or still.
Now he's in trivia. I'm in a kitty league.
Yeah, you're in the does 12 matches in 2 days. No,
Well, I'm a psycho, so
okay.
Go with that how you will.
So, will it ever get to the point where if someone's asking you a question about something that you'll accidentally answer it because you thought it happened in one of the shows?
No, I can compartmentalize fairly well.
Okay, because I know next season they're going to bring the Star Wars TV into the Star Wars League.
Or at least they're talking about it.
Yeah, I know Christian wants to. But do you think they'll ever do that with the MCU shows for MCU unless they make an MCU league?
No, I don't think so. They already expanded enough for IG, so I don't think they're going to include that. The stuff that happens in the shows is going to affect the overall story, but it's pretty easy to keep trivia strictly TV trivia.
Although Colt and I do play in a league where
there we go.
Whoop.
I had froze for like 2 seconds, so
Sorry.
Luckily I was done with my statement.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was done. I was going to say it's pretty easy to keep it as trivia. I think I was going to add that, like, for Star Wars, you're starting to run out of questions because there's 12 movies. So you have to get, like, outside canon, but people are that crazy about Star Wars anyway. So it makes sense. But I think movies, it's gonna be strictly movies, on top of the fact that there's going to be 3 more movies in the next year. So that's just going to keep expanding anyway, unlike Star Wars for a bit. So they'll have plenty of things to pull from.
And it's Marvel fully, right? So it's like 60. It's the 60 movies, and then Marvel movies still happen too. There will be a Venom. There will be a Venom movie. Venom, come get him. My wife and I always do that. I say Venom because
you have to.
You have to at this point. I do play in a league though that does institute geek shows as well, and I have to tell you, I never have any interest in or like animated movies that aren't like theatrically released movies and stuff. And I gotta tell you, I have no interest whatsoever, and I just kind of skirt by those, and I'm like, I hope they don't come up. But I have utilized The Mandalorian because I love it, so that's fine.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's going to be a thing where I would totally like. I'm glad I don't play anymore because there would definitely be moments where things happen, like so much. But I didn't think the episode was bad. Loki episode 3. It's just I hope it gets better.
They're trying to find a charger. That's the point of the episode. They have a cell phone that ran out of juice. Cell phone. Yeah. I guess you could look at it now that I'm thinking about it. You could think, oh, it's like a referendum on how everybody's like cell phones, like their life force. They need it. I guess in this case, it was literal. That is
the most pulled of pulls out of anywhere I've ever heard for any show ever. Like, that is reaching. That's what the word I'm looking for. That is the reachiest of reaches.
Sweet.
I'm sorry.
Sweet. You got to do that with this one. Lamentus. Yeah. I was lamenting.
I've made that joke plenty of times. Lamentus. I'm lamenting this episode. Yes, as much as again, it's not a bad episode. It's just I don't know where they're going. I think that's the big thing. I don't know where they're going with the story at all. Like, again, going back to episode one. Episode one was really hitting hard on Loki as a being. And what the reality of Loki is, and looking at the story of the MCU, and why are you doing the things you do? That's a character dive that you like. This is a good character dive. But after that, especially with this episode, like we find the variant they're looking for, who's killing off everybody, and I'm like, why is she doing what she? What are we doing here?
No idea.
I do like the fact that they do reveal that everyone who works in the TVA is a variant.
That's what I was going to say. Was the
timekeepers seem they're really evil. I'm thinking the timekeepers are evil.
That was the 30 seconds. That during the episode for 30 seconds, or like everybody in the TVA is a variant. I was like, oh, okay, we're getting nowhere. Damn. Y'all gave us that little thing. Y'all had it, and then
because they got to that Final Fantasy VII. City or whatever it was. That's what it reminded me so much of Final Fantasy. I was like, what? Where are we?
Yeah, and like it's weird because in episode 2, he's like super gung-ho about I'm gonna take over the TVA, and she's like, yeah, I'm not into that. This is not about you. Which makes me feel like, oh, if she's like the secret hero in this entire thing, like she's trying to take down the TVA because the timekeepers are actual dickheads. Which sounds like what they are, because if they're just taking all these variants and being like, hey, you have a desk job now, and we erase your past, and hey, cool, you don't remember anything, goodbye. Yeah, that's a pretty dick move.
When have the people in power not ever been dicks? You know, if that ends up being the thing, I'm like, okay, so we're just rehashing that the big corporate whatever is crushing the hopes and souls of the people. So we're just doing that again. That's cool.
Yeah, that's true. This is like Shield or Sword, or we were talking about other things. Like it happens all the time. Like Big Brother is bad. Like that happens.
I mean, George Orwell knew that 45, 50 years ago.
Long time ago.
Knew it a long time ago.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's all we got for Loki. I know, Amaru, you don't watch The Bad Batch. You really should. It's so good.
It's pretty good.
I know you do not, but I do have a question. Did y'all watch the Shang-Chi trailer?
Yes.
I have not seen the second one, no. I'm deciding doing YouTube is tiring. I've already done one Shang-Chi reaction. I don't know if I want to do another. I kind of just want to watch it. But I haven't gotten around to that yet. I haven't even gotten around to the latest Suicide Squad trailer. But no, I have not watched it. So if you want to talk about it, I am starting to like crash. Like I said, this headache is still killing me right now. So I'm probably going to get out of here. Also, this match is going to start in like 3 seconds. But I'm getting excited for many more MCU things, and I'm looking forward to actually experiencing that trailer.
Yeah, Black Widow's in 2 weeks. I think we got Shang-Chi in August, September, and then we got
Eternals in November.
Yep, and then No Way Home in December.
Yeah, so 6 movies in a year. Then I thought like part of that was going to be the shows, but no, it's like 6 movies in 1 year because they had to make up for 2020. Which randomly, fandom question that came up: what's the last year? I don't remember what match it was, but it got me. It got me so bad. What is the last year that the MCU didn't release anything? I was like 2009, and they said 2020, and I'm like, no, that's a great question, but no, 2020 doesn't exist. That's not fair. It's not fair at all.
We all lived it, unfortunately.
It's not a year that anything exists in stone. Come on. But yeah, that I'm very excited because MCU is my favorite franchise. So
yeah.
Mine as well.
Well, before you go, do you have anything you would like to plug or anything?
As always, one got to stay Not this not tomorrow, but the Monday after. And it will be MCU centric ish. It's ish. It's not MCU centric, but their MCU will definitely play a part.
Fine. I don't care.
It will play a part.
Okay.
Ish.
Will you send me that email again?
It's easy. It's onegottastay@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I will try to remember that. Yeah, I could not find it last week to save my life.
It's the show at Gmail. It really is. You know the name of the show. You know the name of the email. onegottastay@gmail.com. Sometime this week I will be putting. I will be working-ish this week, so I'll get the promo out this week. And when I say it's ish, it's another actor episode. So you have to choose from actors, but MCU weighs very heavily on it. So at least for the most part. And then of course, end of the month, I guess it's still June technically. End of next month is Collision. So I'll plug it like 3 or 4 more times before then. But watch me hopefully make Saul very much more angry than he already is.
Oh my god! I hope he like flips something while you're there. That would be cool.
That'd be fun.
That would be so dope. And by the way, of course, all the title matches and all the things happen in July. July is a great month. I was born in that month. It has the best birthstone. Harry Potter was born in that month.
He was. Yeah. Do you do you celebrate all month?
No. I birthdays are like, it's
a day.
It's a day. It's cool like if something special happens on it, but I don't expect it. I am taking that day off though because it's on.
I know plenty of people who celebrate the week or the month. It's my birthday month. We're celebrating all month.
Oh my god! It's like that Family Guy joke where like, I'm turning 30. We're all going to Vancouver for a week. And we're all going to buy dresses and we're all going to spend a ton of money. It's like, Sharon, I don't care if your mom's dying of cancer. This is my week.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Can't think of anything else right now. So if you haven't seen my match, the one where you don't get to hear me at all, go watch the match anyway, because it's still pretty cool.
It's good. I played along. I did fairly well.
Nice. All right. Well, thank y'all, as always.
Get you around, brother.
Yep. All right. Peace.
Feel better, man.
Thank you.
Holy crap, that Shang-Chi trailer was amazing.
I was okay with it.
Oh, I don't know if it's because I'm a huge Mandarin fan, but the more they put him in those trailers, the better it is.
My favorite was the reaction to people finding out what the 10 rings are. If you've been on Facebook, that's my favorite part.
Now, granted, at first, I was not a fan that they aren't actual rings, but they're bracelets. They're bracelets. Yeah. And then I put my nerdum down. I was like, that would be more modern day, that you'd have them like as part of armor on your arm. Because they're not, I wouldn't say they're bracelets because they're not all up here. They're like here, up his arm. So
bangles. Like, but what do you want to call it? Bangles. They're bangles.
Yeah. But I liked it pretty well. And then you see Abomination at the end.
Oh my God. That was the best part to me. I was like, oh my God, he's back. It's been 13 years. Let's go.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they've referenced him a lot in the show, in the movies and stuff, and like the one shots and stuff.
Oh, I was like, when? I was like, what are they?
Well, I know I think they referenced Blonsky, and I know they definitely referenced him in a one shot, but I think they also referenced him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. About him not being in the raft anymore.
Oh, I don't recall that. Interesting. I was just super excited. It reminded me of it reminded me of bad things, but it made me excited anyway, because it reminded me of like the cage fight between Angel and Nightcrawler and X-Men Apocalypse, but I was like, but I'm more excited about this.
Yeah, I feel sorry for her. I don't know who I just saw it and was like, I don't know who he's fighting against. And I'm like, I feel sorry for that person. But yeah, it was good. So back to TV now. The Bad Batch. Holy crap! This might be my favorite episode of the season.
Really?
Yeah, like
Okay.
last week we talked about how they might do the Boba Fett and Cad Bane thing.
Yes.
And whenever you see his hat fall off, he's got this metal plate on his head.
Yes, I didn't realize what that was at first. I thought it was hair, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird."
Which makes it seem like that event has already happened.
Hmm.
So Boba got him bad to where he's got to have a plate on his head now. And he apparently got Boba bad enough to where he has a dent in his Beskar helmet. So I like that. And the fact that they reference Boba. Like, before The Mandalorian, I was never a huge fan of Boba because in the expanded universe, they made him like Mandalorian Jesus. But like, here it's not bad. Like, they referenced him being the alpha.
Yep.
And that so I could totally see her coming back or him coming back and eventually like him showing up Cad Bane and being like, hey, that's my sister, man. And if that leads into her being in the book of Boba Fett, I'm cool with it. Or if they just decide to like keep her an animated exclusive character, that's fine too.
I would be curious about that because it has been a couple episodes since Fennec Shan was there, and I don't look at cast lists that much, but I was like, oh, Ming-Na Wen is doing the voice with Fennec Shan. Good.
Yeah.
So they are crossing those things, which is good. So that's neat. I very much like this episode. I like that part. They referenced Django. That's cool. Tan Wei. I was like, yeah. All right. That's cool. Although now we know what happened to Tan Wei.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Tan Wei. My gosh. Where can I ask you something? Where I know that we find out that Omega Cad Bane took Omega to the Leto system, but were you like me and had Cloud City vibes, like Bespin vibes? I was like, oh my god, it's Bespin?
I absolutely had Bespin vibes, and then when I saw the facility, I was like, did the cloners have additional planets that they? And then they got in there, and there's like dead Kaminoan clones in there, and I'm like, oh my lord! Now I want their backstory on. They must have like ruled a lot because they have like not just this one planet that it was so difficult that Dooku had to erase it from the archives, but he would have erased this planet too to like erase their existence. But
and that probably means there's more.
Yep.
Yeah, a backstory of the Kaminoans would be fairly interesting.
Yeah, and like it makes me more and more think that now that the Prime Minister didn't get what he wants, and he's probably not going to unless because Fennec's not gonna like turn her over to him. We might see the Great Clone Uprising that I've been talking about, but that would be interesting. And like I'm happy that Crosshair isn't out of commission. He immediately jumps in the ship and let's go chase after him.
Yeah, we got 2 seconds of him though.
Yeah.
I was bummed about that. I was like, oh, why couldn't they commission him to try to find like why couldn't he have showed up at the Leto system planet? We don't know what the planet's called. We just know they're in the Leto system. Yeah, why couldn't he have shown up too? Why couldn't there be a 3-way fight between Crosshair, Fennec Shand, and Cad Bane? That would have been cool.
Yeah, well, I think he wouldn't have known because, like, the Kaminoans, they want Omega to, like, you know, get the Prime gene and then murder her so they can make more fresh clones. And the Empire is just like, hey, we need soldiers.
Yeah, clones are dumb.
Yeah.
But the Kaminoans had to have cloned things before Jango Fett, right?
I mean, you assume so, but, like, you never know what those are, though. They could have, like, hey, let's clone the white rhino since they're almost extinct. Or, insert other things here. Like we saw them cloning their own species, so that could have been a thing where they just cloned themselves so that they would have more people to operate their cloning facilities on their own planet.
I would like to know how the plant, like how they got to the point where they were able to clone so successfully. I assume there were lots of trials and tribulations and lots of weird hybrids, sins against nature and God. I think that would have been interesting. No, this episode was cool. I mean, it's cool to see Cad Bane and Fennec Shand fight. Like, that was dope. I did find what this clarified for me is that if you ever want to be a bounty hunter, you have to use your first bounties to make sure that you're getting all the same equipment as the best bounty hunters. Because Cad Bane had the flamethrowers, Cad Bane had rocket shoes, Cad Bane had all that stuff. And I was like, you need that stuff. Because he could have died. She kicked him over the edge. And I don't know anything about Cad Bane, so I was like, uh-oh. And then he was just like, no, I got it. I was like, all right. You need to have those things. You got to have the equipment. If you don't have the equipment, you're toast.
Yeah. All right. And it might just be me, like, watching it Friday mornings. Every time I see Hunter and he has that one streak on his face that's normal skin color, I want to go up to him and, like, paint it black. Like, I have really bad OCD, and I'm like, why would you do that? Paint the rest of it black. Keep or something. Like, every time. And then he turns the other way, and I'm like, hey, Rambo, what's up?
I will say Omega deals with trauma very well. She found out that the people who raised her forever, besides these last couple weeks, have basically, it's like the Dumbledore and Harry thing, to bring it back to the movies, raising her like a pig to slaughter. So, but she was just like over it. She couldn't sleep that one night, but she was just like, it's a thing. But I'm back with my clone homies now, so we're cool.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to remember what the droid's name was.
Seth Green's droid?
Yeah.
Now it's funny because you said it and now I can't remember.
Tito.
What?
Was it Tito?
It's not Tito. No. Toto, I believe.
Toto. That's it. Yeah.
Not Toto, like the dog, but Toto, like everything in Spanish.
Yep. Yeah. So the fact that he was like, he's so innocent that he's like, yeah, I'll let you help me out, and then she's just like, yep, I'm gonna turn you off now.
Yeah, I figured he would have felt that something was wrong, but he was like, nah, that's cool. He cocked out. And then Cad Bane just kind of like touched him and he was fine.
Yeah, like I hope we see more of the droids from the Clone Wars show up. Like, even if it's not in like a big series or whatever, like there's a droid that helps build lightsabers for the Jedi who's played by David Tennant.
Oh my gosh.
He's so funny. He's so funny.
Of course he's funny.
Yeah, and yeah, like droid humor is the best.
It's so dry.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. They're always English. That's why.
And I'm guessing we'll probably see IG-88 in the Boba Fett show. I mean, IG-11's dead, so we can't deal with that. And then even though like
give me as much IG-88 as you want, I'll take it. Yep.
And of course, like we still have C-3PO, but he is not as interesting as when I was younger. Like I think more and more we see of him, the less
like protocol and etiquette.
Yeah, like there's always that scene in Rise of Skywalker when he's like, I just need to take a moment to look at my friends. And I'm like, you've known these people for a year. You're not even gonna like try and pay attention. Like,
well, he also says Babu Frick's his best friend.
Yeah, like
I know his memory gets wiped, but I'm just like, he's not very. I mean, he shows up in Force Awakens. He's like, "Hey, it's me. Got this right arm.
Mhm.
Cool. Oh, R2 shut himself down. And that's it. That's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a very, very this is episode 9, so we got
Across the halfway point.
we got 7 more, and honestly, I hope they continue the show. We're past season one season. That'd be great. If they don't, I understand. I'll be really.
Oh no, Filoni's real busy, right? So.
Yeah, but I mean, now that he's the executive creative director of Lucasfilm.
You mean the thing he did before?
Just go ahead and let him take Kathleen Kennedy's job. We'll be good with that.
Hey, he's a Pittsburgh guy. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, he is the best thing to happen to Star Wars since George Lucas, and
him and Favreau.
Yeah,
I would say that's a connective thing.
Yeah,
for me anyway, because I don't have as much connection to Clone Wars and Rebels, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, Rebels is my favorite piece of Star Wars ever. That's including the old books and everything. I love it so much. I can't wait till they bring Ezra into the fold. I guess in the Ahsoka series, or bring Thrawn into the fold.
Thrawn.
Yeah, the Thrawn in the Rebels show is so much better than the Thrawn in the canon books, because the author, he originally wrote Thrawn as a villain, and now he's kind of writing him as an anti-hero, where in his brain he's doing stuff, but in the he's I'm doing this for the whatever reason. In the books, he paints himself as an anti-hero, where in all the shows and stuff, he's straight up villain, and I like that. But unfortunately, we know where that stuff is kind of going, because we have to deal with the sequel trilogy being a thing, which that's the one thing I like about the MCU stuff, is we don't have any real idea where it's going, and it can go for the next 30 years, and I'm cool with it. I'm not really excited for the past episode 9 stuff for Star Wars. Unless
I mean, Kevin Feige's doing one with the guy who's writing Loki and Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I'm not excited about post-sequel trilogy timeline, because what's the government going to be like? Are there going to be a new empire that builds a weapon that blows up planets? That's too old.
Maybe it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but
it could just be I was semi-excited for the idea of separatists when the Attack of the Clones came out, and then Attack of the Clones came out. Yeah. But that idea of having, it's the thing with with Solo. It's having crime syndicates, fighting for control. That's cool.
And that's kind of what they're doing in the High Republic stuff, in the comics and the books. It's ordinary people going up against the Republic. And I love that stuff. It's ordinary, run-of-the-mill villains who aren't doing it because, so far, they're not doing it because they're manipulated by a Sith Lord. But knowing Star Wars, that's where it's going, unfortunately. I think that's my prediction for it, is there's going to be a Sith in the background manipulating events, and then it will make me sad. But right now, it's just ordinary people being hey, the Republic's full of jerks. I'm doing my thing, and I really like that. I like the human element. It's one of the reasons why I love the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Even though they're super powered, they're hey, the governments of the world are trying to screw us, so let's do our thing. Or as we've talked about in The Boys, I love the characters that are the boys. It's so that show is so good, and even though the first episode is really hard to watch of that show. Spoiler alert, to all you out there, it's pretty gross, but they kind of the Deep kind of sexually assaults Starlight.
No, not kind of. He does.
Yeah, he definitely does.
Yeah.
It's a lot better than what apparently they do in the comic books, because apparently Black Noir, A-Train, and Homelander all go to town on her
Mm.
in the comics. So it's better that than, but still, that's like one of those things. Like I don't like rape culture at all. I mean, I guess I shouldn't. I'm like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And if I like that, then we'd have a real problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I hate seeing it, and I hate seeing in the first episode, A-Train runs through his girlfriend, Huey's girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, that's so sad because as a married man, I'm like, if someone ran through my wife, I'd be so upset. And then, yeah, all of that stuff. But yeah, like I guess let's call this a farewell. We've this has been a good show. Yeah, I always appreciate you being on here, Robert.
Thank you. I like being here.
Yes. Do you have anything you would like to plug before we head out?
No, just more fan league stuff is going to come out. I'm still working on the podcast. I will have something soon for that, hopefully. Just other things, life gets in the way of your interests sometimes. I don't have a set schedule for it. So my dad's birthday is coming up. That'll be tomorrow. So that's really cool. 4th of July, birth of our nation. That's coming up. So hopefully everybody gets a chance to celebrate and enjoy that. You mentioned some of the cool things that are going to be coming out very soon, not only for this show, but, in general pop culture-ness. So that's neat. Otherwise, at Robert Castner on Facebook. That's where you can find me. That's where you can talk to me. Go ahead and do so.
Yeah, like theaters are finally opening up. It's going to be a very interesting time. Don't forget out there on the internet, the SuperNova Network. Yep, that's good. There's the link. That's always fun. And don't forget, #Aragon Remake. Disney out there, you got all this money that you can make off of a Disney Plus TV show. You might as well do it. You're sitting on this IP. You might as well do it. Millions of copies sold for this book, this book series. You might as well do it. And until you do it, I'm going to keep on plugging it on the show. #Aragon Remake because it's important. But also, don't like I said at the beginning of the show, Kevin Smets, you're out there. You're smashing cancer. We're here for you, buddy. #Smash Cancer. And that's how we're going to leave off and catch you around.
Don't forget to tip your virtual waitresses.